Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. It is the other Wednesday of the month, so it is Hidden Figures Day, and today's hidden figure is actually someone that a few of you might know, because she's not like a completely hidden figure, and that will be Dorothy Height. Dorothy Height was a civil rights activist and a women's rights activist who died fairly recently in 2010. She was almost 100 years old. She was 98 years old when she died. And she's really known for championing the rights of African American women. So especially a lot of you guys have suggested Dorothy Height, so that's also probably why I know that she's like a little bit known, but she's definitely not as well known as she should be. Like, Dorothy Height should probably be a like Martin Luther King status, but that's neither here nor there. So let's go ahead and get into some information about Dorothy Height. And as always, at the end, I will read you guys some quotes. She had some really great quotes, so I'm gonna read more than one. So, Dorothy Height was a civil rights and women's rights activist focused primarily on improving the circumstances of and opportunities for African American women. Born in Virginia in 1912, Dorothy Height was a leader in addressing the rights of both women and African Americans as the president of the National Council of Negro Women. In the 1990s, she drew young people into her cause in the war against drugs, illiteracy, and unemployment, and the numerous honors bestowed upon her include the Presidential Medal of Freedom given to her in 1994 and the Congressional Gold Medal given to her in 2004. She died on April 20th, 1910. She died on April 20th, 2010 in Washington, D.C. Born on March 24th, 1912 in Richmond, Virginia, African-American activist Dorothy Height spent her life fighting for civil rights and women's rights. The daughter of a building contractor and a nurse, Height moved with her family to Rankin, Pennsylvania in her youth, and there she attended racially integrated schools. In high school, Height showed great talent as an orator. She also became socially and politically active, participating in anti-lynching campaigns. Height's skills as a speaker took her all the way to a national oratory competition, and winning the event, she was awarded a college scholarship. Height had applied to and been accepted to Barnard College in New York, but at the start of the school year, the college changed its mind about her admittance, telling Height that they had already met their quota for black students. Undeterred, she applied to New York University, where she would earn 2 degrees, a bachelor's degree in education in 1930 and a master's degree in psychology in 1932. After working for a time as a social worker, Height joined the staff of the Harlem YWCA in 1937. She had a life-changing encounter not long after starting work there when she met Mary McLeod Bethune, the educator and founder of the National Council of Negro Women. Height soon volunteered with the NCNW and became close to Mary. One of Height's major accomplishments at the YWCA was directing the integration of all its centers in 1946. She also established its Center for Racial Justice in 1965, which she ran until 1977. In 1957, Height became the president of the National Council of Negro Women. Through the center and the council, she became one of the leading figures of the civil rights movement, and Height worked with Martin Luther King Jr., A. Philip Randolph, Roy Wilkins, Whitney Young, John Lewis, and James Farmer, sometimes called the Big Six of the civil rights movement, on different campaigns and initiatives. In 1963, Height was one of the organizers of the famed March on Washington. Now, I've done at least 2 or 3 videos now on various African American women that were organizers of the March on Washington that we do not learn about in school. We don't read about them. We don't hear about them. We don't hear about the contributions that these black women made to the March on Washington and to the civil rights movement, right? We don't hear about it. Unless it's like Rosa Parks, we don't hear about it. She stood close to Martin Luther King Jr. when he delivered his speech, and despite her skills as a speaker and leader, Height was not invited to talk that day. And again, this has been an issue that we've seen popping up again and again as I've made these Hidden Figures videos, is these talented, incredibly smart, talented black American women that are allowed to help organize, but are not invited to speak, but are not invited to be put in public positions. This is still something that is still happening today within many pro-black circles, which leads back to that famous, very famous quote about black women being asked to choose between, what they feel is a pro-black movement that looks over their womanhood and a women's movement, a feminist movement that asks them to deal with racism, right? Misogynoir, that sweet spot for us where race and gender intersect. Height later wrote that the March on Washington event had been an eye-opening experience for her. Her male counterparts were happy to include women in the human family, but there was no question as to who headed the household, she said, according to the Los Angeles Times. And again, this is like in the 60s, the 50s and the 60s. So again, all this talk about like, oh, this is like a modern contemporary thing. Now like, black women don't know their place and da-da-da-da-da. Like, this is not some new shit, right? Continue. Height joined in the fight for women's rights, and in 1971, she helped found the National Women's Political Caucus with Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, and Shirley Chisholm. I got these lights on to record. These lights be hot, y'all. These lights be hot. You don't know what we YouTubers do. These lights be hot. It's like I'm on a set. Anyways, while she retired from the YWCA in 1977, Height continued to run the NCNW for 2 more decades. One of her later projects was focused on strengthening the African American family, and in 1986, Height organized the first Black Family Reunion, a celebration of traditions and values which is still held annually. Height received many honors for her contributions to society. In 1994, President Bill Clinton awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She stepped down from the presidency of the NCNW in the late 1990s, but remained the organization's chair of the board until her death in 2010. In 2002, Height turned her 90th birthday celebration into a fundraiser for the NCNW. Oprah Winfrey and Don King were among the celebrities who contributed to the event. In 2004, President George W. Bush gave Height the Congressional Gold Medal. She later befriended the first African-American president of the United States, Barack Obama, who called her the godmother of the civil rights movement, according to the New York Times. Height died in Washington, D.C. on April 20th, 2010, and on February 1st, 2017, the United States Postal Service kicked off Black History Month with the issuance of the Dorothy Height Forever stamp, honoring her civil rights legacy. That was just this year, right? That this woman was recognized with her own stamp, right? Let's read some quotes. Quotes, 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 quotes. Dorothy Height. Without community service, we would not have a strong quality of life. It's important to the person who serves as well as the recipient. It's the way in which we ourselves grow and develop. Another one. A Negro woman has the same kind of problems as other women, but she can't take the same things for granted. White women. Greatness is not measured by what a man or woman accomplishes, but by the opposition he or she has overcome to reach his goals. I love this quote. I'm going to read it again. Greatness is not measured by what a man or woman accomplishes, but by the opposition he or she has overcome to reach his goals. I love this quote because you hear so often about white people that they accomplished all this shit and they did all this shit, they did this and they did that. And then it's like, yeah, but like what have they had to fucking overcome to get, when everything is handed to you, it's very easy to get to the top. You know, when you're at the bottom and you accomplish things, it's like even more fucking incredible that you were able to accomplish that shit. Like, it's like you're doing 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times the work. Just like that fucking scandal. You got to work twice as hard to have half of what they got, right? Like, so all this shit that they talk about that they accomplished does not make them great because they had it handed to them. I really appreciate that quote. It's very succinct. It's very to the point, and it really gets the message across of like, you're not going to throw your fucking contributions and, you know, and the shit that you've accomplished in my face when you fucking already started at 10 because of shit that you already had, right? I want to be remembered as someone who used herself and anything she could touch to work for justice and freedom. I want to be remembered as one who tried. Dorothy Height. A hidden figure. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys read a little bit more about Dorothy Height. Of course, there will be tons of links in the description box for you guys to check out. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. For anyone new, I know there's a lot of you guys that are new. I do Hidden Figure series highlighting Black women in history. It's not just Black American women. It is all types of Black women in history. Hidden Figures, of course, based on the movie, every other Wednesday. So we did it today. So not next week, the week after. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace, Hidden Figures. Woo woo.